I'm Eggy Drago. I am the cream of the crop. I am the yolk on top. I'm a part-time video store clerk, a part-time brawler. Oh yeah, and a full-time human being. Wow. When I went to Tokyo back in February 2024, I went to an idol concert on a whim because my VTuber Oshi, who graduated, was into that scene. Needless to say, I got hooked. Yeah, I think we bought too many Checkies. After talking to a few idols, I realized every single one of them has a story, be it why they chased this dream, their ups and downs, and even their future after all this. And that's what I'm here to do. Learn more about the idol culture, the various scenes around the world, and to give them a platform to tell their stories. Every idol has a dream and a story to tell. This is IDOLEYEZ.
Konnichiwa, chérie.
An idol influenced by gyaru, heavy metal, and shoujo manga who recently had her US debut. We'll talk to Sherry about her idol journey. All eyes on me. IDOLEYEZ, Northwest Idol Fest Arc, Episode 22, Chérie Ife. Tonight. Whoa. Hi. Howdy. I am the cream of the crop. I am the yolk on top. I am mighty Eggy Drago. And I am fixing something like right now. So don't worry about anything. It's totally fine. Let's see if it works. It works! Whoa, yeah, woo! It does work. Wow.
Hey, wow, that was weird.
We were trying to set up Sherry's webcam feed, but it finally worked, so that's cool. But yes, welcome to IDOLEYEZ, episode 22, Northwest Idol Fest Arc, with our guest for tonight, representing the second city. She is a genreless idol influenced by many things like shoujo manga, like gyaru culture, everything and anything, and heavy metal. This is Chérie Ife. How are you?
よろしくお願いします。I'm trying to recover from what happened earlier, but I'm doing great. Doing good. I'm doing good. We'll just say that.
All right. Well, before we start this interview, we have to do a little ad read for our official / unofficial sponsor for IDOLEYEZ, Yeah Lights. Lights? Yeah Lights. How can we light up the live? At Yeah Lights, we make your moments shine brighter. Whether you're heading to a concert, a party, or any exciting event, we've got you covered with concert pen lights, light sticks, UOs, colored glow sticks, and accessories that take your experience to the next level. Looking for something special? We also offer customized products in bulk, perfect for connecting fans with idols and making your event unforgettable. Check us out at yeahlights.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at yeahlights. Pew pew pew. And let's start things off real hot as we go back to the past. As Sherry, I'm gonna ask you, who or what got you into idol culture?
Ooh, oh, we're gonna have to go back. Um, I was really young. Like, I would say like 7 or 8 years old when I was first exposed to idol music. And you know, I grew up in America, but my mom, she had cable and she would order Japanese television programs onto our TV so we could still watch those even though we were in Chicago. And she used to watch like Enka programs and like that, you know, like karaoke like competitions and stuff on like NHK. And I would always watch Music Station. And they would have live performances there. And that was like kind of like my first time being exposed to groups like, you know, like AKB48 and whatnot. And just watching those, just like little me sitting in the living room watching those performances, it was so magical.
I see. It's very interesting to hear like people's origin stories, because like most people that I've interviewed are very much got into it via the internet, via Love Live, or like stumbling upon like AKB on YouTube. But you it's a very unique case because you watched Music Station and via
Yeah.
cable, so very interesting. Um, what would you say? Who or what would you say was your first group or first favorite group or first favorite soloist?
I would say if we're speaking like strictly like idol music, my the first group that I really really got obsessed with, and they're more like an anti-idol group, brand new Idol Society.
Mm,
I was like, I mean, I had a thing for like AKB48 obviously because that was like my first group that I was exposed to, but I've always had this like, I don't know, I've always been drawn to more edgier stuff.
I see.
So brand new Idol Society kind of like, and just whack in general, was like an instant like obsession.
I see. Very, very yeah. Like um, Stumbled upon you as a guest. It's very much interesting compared to like everyone else. In terms of like, I guess, uh, would you consider yourself an alt idol or
I could say that because I don't necessarily want to tie myself down to one like particular concept,
right?
but I think because of the music that I enjoy, and the fashion and the style that I like, and all the various genres that I listen to, I think it would be considered alt because it's not necessarily what I do is not necessarily typical of the idol genre
Right.
as a whole. To
I
be
see.
honest,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, compared to like a lot of guests I had, like very very unique concept, I would say. So
Oh.
yeah. um, Going on to my next question, what really like inspired you to become a kaigai idol or like get into this path?
Really, for me, it was kind of this weird, like life changing moment, like this aha moment. And I've talked about this a little bit online, as well as on like my little fan club website. But I, there was like a period in my life where I was going through quite a bit, and I found myself in a slump, like just, not able to kind of leave the house, very withdrawn, almost like hikikomori.
Uh,
But I noticed that the only thing that I would truly like leave the house for was like concerts. It's just like that was the only thing that could get me motivated to go out, was hearing live music, enjoying the artists and the idols that I loved. And I would even, like I've mentioned before, I would even go to these shows alone. I know that like a lot of people like don't like going to concerts by themselves. They want to kind of have like a buddy with them.
right.
But it brought me so much joy, that I would just go by myself and just have a blast, honestly.
Yeah.
um, and I realized that was what was bringing me true happiness. And I just, like I said, I had this aha moment, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if I just started making my own music and expressing myself, through this art that I love so much? And since I've been watching idols since I was young, since I enjoy the concept, I love watching these performances. This is what I wanted to go for. This is what I wanted to try, um, and it's brought me so much joy. It really has.
Like very much a lot of idols use this, I guess, use this platform to very much express themselves or like it's very cathartic for a lot of them, very much so. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see. Coming from the question about what inspired you to become an idol, did you become, were you, man, did you be Jesus, man, long day.
Me.
Do you come,
I get it.
yeah, do you come from a musically inclined background?
Yes, yes. So my mom, she was a professionally trained like opera singer, and she went to school for that. She was a teacher, and my dad, he was a jazz drummer, and he was actually the drummer for, this progressive jazz group called Sun Ra. And they did like, like weird, funky, like space themed like jazz. It was really as a kid I thought it was so cool. And that is how like he ended up like visiting Japan and going to Osaka, things like that. So they have they have music in their bones. And even my brother, my younger brother, he decided to go to school for music production and engineering. So that's kind of just been that's been my family. Like music is everything in my household.
Apart from music, did you have like any other I guess prereqs for like being an idol is like dancing, vocals, and I guess like graphic design. But like, did you like attend like any vocal classes, any dance classes prior to becoming an idol?
So I had a lot of piano lessons as a kid. My mom had me go into band, so like music, reading music, um, being able to understand music from a technical level. That's something that I had prior to this. And vocal train, I had like a little bit of vocal training, um, but not like anything too extensive. And dance, never had any lessons, but it's just been in me. Like like I know how to throw it down. Like like I don't know, it's my genetic makeup or something, but like I can do that no problem. Like so that's kind of like I've had very like I would say it feels like very like minimal experience honestly because I was a bit of like the black sheep of the family even though my family's very like musically inclined and I enjoyed music so much. When I was younger, it wasn't really something that I saw myself doing.
Hmm.
It hasn't been until recently that I've been like, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life.
How recently was that like that change to I guess hmm, I guess I want to be an idol like that.
I think like it had kind of been like bubbling up inside of me for like I would say like since 3 years ago maybe, but it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that I got super serious about it and I sat myself down and I said, okay, is this something that you're going to do full time? Can you do it full time? And I just said, yeah, this is what this is what I want to do. So it's been like, yeah, a year and a half of me really just focusing on music and performances and just giving it my all.
Interesting. Um, coming from that, well, the first thing that you see as an idol or like someone is your stage name, Sherry Ife. What inspired your stage name?
Uh, well, I don't know. I've always had like a thing for like romance and drama and just like the entire concept of love and relationships has always been really interesting to me. So I wanted something that was romantic. So chérie, obviously, that's like just French for dear. So I kind of just like threw that in there. And then Ife is actually Yoruban for love. And the reason why I picked that is because I wanted to kind of pay tribute to my dad's background. So I still wanted to include something African within my like stage name.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's like the very first thing that I was like, I wanted to ask because very much a lot of idols are either they have like childhood nicknames that are just like shortened full names or like
Mm-hmm.
or just old internet usernames that they chopped up and used as their idol
Yeah.
name. So it's very interesting. It's very unique. So it stands out. So I do love it.
Thank you.
Mm. Prior to like all of this, did you listen to any or like did you know about kaigai idols or did you just know about like Japanese idols or
I I heard about it. Like, yeah, the majority, obviously, I think that goes for anybody. Like, their majority of their experience is going to be like with the Japanese idol scene. And it hasn't really been until recently that kaigai idols have kind of like blown up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is like, this is like kind of a new thing. So I kind of, I don't remember quite exactly how I stumbled upon it, but I think my first exposure or the first artist I was exposed to was Paida.
Oh
And yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I thought that was super, super cool, to see another black person engage in this art and perform and do idol, like, just live that idol life. And I think that Paida was like kind of the big thing for me, the big inspiration that kind of showed me like, hey, like, you can still be a full-fledged idol even if you're overseas. So
Right. Yeah. For me, like even before I did this whole thing, there were like two people that I thought of as kaigai idols, or that I knew of, which was Phoebe and Paida. So this is very much the two names that you first think of when you hear about kaigai idols. So
yeah, that was my introduction, and oh gosh, I love them both. So
yeah. Coming back to like the your whole idol concept, what really inspired the whole thing?
um, I think for me, um, I love, I just love the ability to kind of dissect the human psyche, and I think there's a lot of like interesting data to pull from the concept of an idol and idol fans. I don't know if that sounds weird or not,
No.
but like, I just like the human psyche and like psychology and is just so interesting to me. So for me, becoming an idol was such an interesting endeavor because I got to kind of learn about what makes humans tick, what makes humans, you know, drawn to specific people, um, that charm, that kind of makes an idol.
Right.
And I just find it so interesting. So I kind of try to implement, a lot of that like deciphering into my music. So I have a lot of songs about, that relationship, the symbiotic relationship between like the fans and the artist, um, what it means to perform on stage, what an idol persona is. So yeah, it's just been super interesting for me and super fun.
You describe yourself as genreless on your website, and also I introduce you as genreless. Why is that? Why do you like not don't want to be like bound by anything?
Mostly because I listen to everything. Like there's not a single genre of music that I won't like play, honestly. I know I have inspiration from like rock music and like metal and punk in general, but I've got like a song on Spotify right now that's just like straight up like trap, like but kawaii like hip hop. Um so I don't want to like shove myself into a corner and say I can't do this, I can't do that when I'm writing because I think it makes things like less interesting, like I want to be able to surprise people and say, "Hey, I've got this new song, but it sounds like this and it's totally different from the last song." And I think that keeps things like fresh and new for listeners.
I see. Cause like I would say like some idols very much box themselves into like a concept and like very much go,
Mm.
hey, I'm gonna do like cute music, and then the whole they all their stuff is just cute music. So it's very interesting to like, I guess, get out of the box, as cliche as that sounds, and do like stuff very interesting stuff. So
There's nothing wrong with like wanting to do like mostly, like pop and like techno and like the cute stuff like you mentioned. I don't think there's anything wrong
right,
with that, and
yeah,
that's something that I obviously would love to like indulge in as well. But just like for me, I feel like there's gonna, humans are so like multifaceted, like we have so many sides to ourselves, and if I feel like one day I want to do like rock, I could do that. If I feel like one day I want to do hip hop, I can do that. Like yeah.
I see. Do you have like any specific role models or inspirations coming from, I guess, the concept and also like your musical style?
Say, and I think this kind of like goes into like me revealing who my like Kamioshi is. um, I actually, I guess they count as an idol, but I really love um, Abuchan from the band Queen Bee. I don't know if you've ever heard them before or not.
I don't think I have. No.
They did the ending for Oshinoko.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, and one thing I learned from them as a group, and the singer, um, and she's a really like amazing like entertainer, and she's done like the idol concept before too. Um, she, just like I said before, she likes to keep things like fresh and interesting. So like one song might be this genre of music, another song might be that genre, and every time they release like a new single, they completely change their image, like 100%. Like you would not look at them and say, "Oh, that's the same band as last time." You just don't recognize them. Like, I highly recommend you check it out just to see what I'm talking about. But that's always been a huge inspiration for me. Just the ability to be versatile in the music that I do, and be versatile in the imagery and the visuals and the choreography. Yeah, I want to keep things new and interesting. So that's kind of been like my inspiration.
Hmm. I'm. I mean, like after this show, I'll probably check them out. But it's very. I keep saying it, but like, you know, very much. Idols have one standard costume or like one standard concept, and they go through it. So it's interesting to see like that switch up. So.
Yeah, gotta keep it fresh, yo. Gotta keep it fresh.
um, I very much did research, kind of. So like I not you didn't really have a lot on YouTube, so I just had to basically ask you, and I had to like go through your social media. But
I'm new. I'm super new.
so I learned from you that you and through your social media that you lived in Japan. What made you like move there, and like how long?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's kind of like my second home. So I actually still, right now, I'm doing shows and performances here in the US. But if I was on like a normal schedule, it would actually be that I would be spending like maybe like 1 month in America, and then 1 month in Tokyo, and then 1 month in America.
What?
Yeah. Like before I started doing shows, I was pretty much like traveling back and forth constantly. Um, and the reason for that is like my before I was doing idol activities, my first love has always been like cosmetology and makeup and hair. Um, and so when I was living in the US, I would, kind of communicate with a lot of people overseas who were mixed, just like me, or just, just like black women or black men overseas in Japan. And the one complaint or comment that they would always have is that it was really difficult to find somebody that knew how to do like their hair and makeup. And it makes sense, right? Because like, we just have like, it's totally different like skin, totally different hair. And when you're there and it's kind of like, monoracial society, you're not necessarily trained to do hair. You're not trained in black hair. So they would ask me to come over and help them do those things and style their hair and do their makeup because they couldn't find any salons that could do that. So that kind of became my job over there. So I have like a lot of like prior experience with like styling and stuff. So I guess that kind of makes like doing like the idol like makeup and idol hair like a little bit easier for me, just because I have that background. But yeah, I would just come over there and do hair and makeup and go to concerts, and then I would come back home to America, and then I would go back over there, and I was losing my mind.
Oh. That's very much insane. I don't know how much money you burnt on that, but like
Too much.
too much. Because like even for me, like I know like my aunt and uncle, they stay here for like 6 months in the States, and then
Mm,
6 months later they move back to the Philippines, and then repeat the cycle.
yeah.
Month after month after month is actually insane.
It's a lot. You're just I realized like my body was never able to get on like any sort of like clock, so my sleep schedule made no sense at a certain point.
Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, when you were there, you did say like cosmetology was like your main thing. Was there like
Mm-mm.
a real primary goal? I guess with your idol career, like what was the main goal you wanted to achieve while you were in Japan with that?
With I mean, for me, just like for music in general, it's always been a big goal of mine to do more shows in Japan. And like the first the first actual live that I've done, like the very first one, was not necessarily like an idol show. It was this really small like rock punk club, like super grungy in Kobe. and and it was really dark, and I had friends who would often like do shows there, and they said, "Hey, why don't you like come over here and like do some performances? Like we'll let you like hook up your gear and stuff." So I ended up doing that. And oh my gosh, just like I had so much fun. Obviously it wasn't an idol event, but just like having that experience, being able to perform my songs in front of an audience, um, it was mind blowing. And to be able to do that in Japan was just like I was so happy. And so that's what I want to continue to do is I want to do more shows like in America, but I'd also like to continue to do performances overseas as well.
I see. Do you remember your set list for that first show?
I did at the time. This was like all of my older music. So the first song I did was "Breathe,"
Mm.
um, and it was like a really somber song, like, but it fit the vibe because again, this was like like very much so like rock punk like club. And then I ended up doing my other song, "Maho," which is a little more upbeat, and it was just oh my god, it was magic. It was truly magical. I loved it.
You said like there was an audience there. How many people were like watching you?
At that, I think because again, this is a really small place. It couldn't have been any more than like 100 or something like that. It was like 100.
What? What?
Yeah,
Really?
well, it was like a Christmas event, like the holiday event.
Oh.
So the club was already kind of like having their own little like huge like get together, and they had like put out an advertisement to have like a bunch of like college kids like come in and like do performances. So it's kind of like a holiday thing.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so it was like but then you know what's funny? That show, I was not nervous at all. And I think it was because I had a lot of people there that I already knew because a lot of my musician friends were like performing there. But the idol show, the first idol show that I did in America, something I don't know what came over me, but I just like had the shakes the entire time.
Speaking of idol shows, like you talked about the rock Taiban. Did you do like any idol Taibans while you were there, or no?
No,
No.
that was like all like just like these punk and like rock clubs in Kobe, all of that. Like that was like my prior experience was like people like moshing and taking their shirts off and like and you know what? I love it, but that was that.
I see. Um, when was the last time you were, I guess, there?
Oh, the last time I was, was it? It was like April. It was sometime spring. I think it was spring. I don't know. I've taken so many trips that I honestly like am starting to forget when I was there. But I believe it was spring, early spring, and I came back mostly because I wanted to start doing the shows here in America.
I see. With idols and like being in Japan, you did you attend like any idol like concerts
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Taibans? Yeah.
Yes.
How
Um,
how was that?
so I went to go see Merukumaru Mermal. So it was amazing, and I got to meet Heidi, and I was
Ah!
like, ah, and we took a selfie together. It was so great. That was so much fun because I really do enjoy their music, um, and also their costumes are just so unique too. I just find them to be a very unique, very cute group, and they all have very like unique charms. Um, so going there was actually like my first like I guess chica idol experience. Because I've been to like festivals before where like larger groups like like AKB48 and whatnot have performed and like Morning Musume. I've seen them, but it was a little bit different to actually be in like a smaller live house and be kind of like almost at the front and watch that, and it was so much fun, and Bupan was so much fun. I loved it. I loved it.
How much of that, like being in the crowd and like soaking up like the performances and going to Bupan, how much of that did you like want to get influence from into like your act?
I mean, it like experiencing that idol culture like up front and in person, like that definitely influenced how I want to operate as an idol, even like overseas, because a lot of the practices I think that they have over there aren't necessarily like 100% implemented in America yet. Like even Bupan itself is like different, like just like the interaction is a little bit different. But I like the idea of just like Chucky is so cute to me, and I just like this is adorable. Like you get to like take a picture with your idol, you get to like have like a little chat with them. I think that's really cute. Um, I really like how unique the merch is over there and the goods. Um, the costume, everything. I think everything about finally being able to experience that um, the Chica idol scene gave me a lot of thought about or a lot of inspiration for what I wanted to do, even though I'm in America. I think I could bring some of those ideas over.
I see. So, getting like inspiration from that, and then I guess going back to America, you do your first, I guess, U.S. Taiban, Anime
Mm-mm.
Iowa. I had to ask you because I had like no
Yeah,
idea. I'm so
I've done.
sorry.
There's a lot of shows that aren't up on there, but like yes, anime Iowa.
So Anime Iowa, what was that experience like performing to a Western crowd?
It was fun. It was really fun. I thought um that obviously like performing at an anime convention is going to be different than performing at a live house. It's just a totally different like environment. But there were a lot of people there. I think that's why I started shaking during sound check, is because I noticed that the actual room that they had us in was huge, and there were a lot of chairs. And this is different from like the like Chisai Raibu House that I was like performing at in Kobe, where they're like a little bit smaller venue and everybody's like cramped in and it's really really dark. No, this was like properly lit, so everybody can see you, and like not everybody's cramped together, and it was a totally different vibe, and I I loved it. I had so much fun. Like it was my first time putting on a show in America, and I wanted to like give it my all. So we did Pink Rose and we did Jupiter's Lullaby, and it was like smaller set list because it was Taiwan, but I had so much fun, and I had so much fun interacting with the other performers because I felt like they had so much more experience than me. Um, and so watching them was also really a big inspiration for me. I just was like, okay, I have to improve. I need to step up my game.
I'm
Like I took it as a challenge.
Yeah, it's good to see like seeing other people like competition or iron sharpens iron, as they would say, like seeing other people like perform and then seeing how you could like, I don't know, one up them or like take what they that skill that you just saw, so um
like it wasn't so much like competitive feeling, but it was more like, oh my gosh, wow, you guys are so amazing. I hope I can achieve that.
Yeah. Gotta, sky's the limit, as I would say.
Mm-mm.
What could you have done differently for that first show?
Like a water break. Like I also, again, this goes back into like my like Kami Oshi and like me being into the band I mentioned earlier, like Queen Bee. The thing that I noticed with the vocalist Abu-chan is she, and this is gonna sound absolutely crazy when I say this, but she performs, and her set lists are usually around like 90 minutes, and she does not stop, like at all.
No
She
breaks.
doesn't, no break. She doesn't drink any water. She doesn't like. It's just like just go go go, and this was very stupid of me because I'm sitting over here thinking, oh yeah, like I could do that too. Like I just started performing. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna go through this entire thing, and I'm not gonna. This is like one of my first like true performances with a larger crowd. I'm just gonna like zoom right by this with like no water and no, like I didn't. You have to take breaks. Like I think that's like the solid advice I would give myself is why are you trying to do this all at once? Take take a break, drink some water, breathe.
Yeah. Nah, no way. No way you could like your vocals would
I don't
probably
know how she does it. I feel like she has like magic like iron lungs or something, but like she just does it and she doesn't drink water because she says that like it like takes away from the vibe. So I was like, "Oh, like I'm like no, you just started. Sit down. Like drink your water." Like
for that Taiban, did you do Bupan or was it just straight up just like a performance? That's it.
um there was no Bupon for that one, but um like despite my like nervousness and how again like how shaky I was during sound check, um I was sitting there thinking like I was like, oh my gosh, like I must have been looked totally afraid. I must have been so scared. Like I don't even remember how I got through the songs that I did. But it was really it was amazing because after the show, like again, there was no Bhutan, but we had people that were like finding me. Like I left the venue, the concert hall, and there were people finding me like as I was like just like kind of sitting around and chilling, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like you did so good," and I was like, "Huh?" Like, what? And they were just like, "You did so amazing." And then I had like a group of guys. They like came up to me and they're like, "Can you sign our like program book?" And like I ended up doing like a like Bupan like in the courtyard of because I was just like, well, like I did not expect it at all, but there were genuinely people that were like that were excited about what I did, and I was just like, ah,
That's a good
like
feeling.
that's
Like
so cool. It was really cool. Like so, no Bupa, but like I made it work after.
I see. So, Anime Iowa first show, and then second show was Anime Magic, and it was their competition, right? Or
Yes, well, actually, before that,
before that?
there was a fan expo, but that was like, but again, like it's so hard to find like all my shows on there. But yes, the next one was Anime Magic. Yes.
Okay, so it was they had a Next Up Idol thing competition.
Mm.
If you won, you get to perform at the opening of the actual show, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
how was it performing in like a competition based I guess series of performances?
Oof! It was so. I think it was like just so much fun for me, even though it got a little chaotic, and I'll get into that in a second. Like, um, first off, just I got to meet with a lot of very like seasoned performers in the Midwest area. So Jenny was there, Aki was there, and they're like, they have some history, and they're very much so leaders within the kaigai idol community. So meeting them and kind of being able to like sit down and chat with them was really nice. Um, finding out that they were the judges is what that's what scared me. I was like, oh, this is real now. Okay. So um we had the competition, and I got up there to do my thing, and I did Pink Rose because that's like, again, like a really very energetic song. I think it gets the crowd like really hyped because there's like chance for, like call and response and whatnot. And like I want to say like 20 seconds into my song, I guess somebody hit the computer that they were playing the tracks on, or hit something, and my backtrack went out. Like my backtrack just died, and I was like, oh.
So what happened then? Like, you were like, oh shit.
In my head, I was like, oh, like that's not good. And then that's not the end of it. After I don't know what happened after that, but somebody must have hit something, and then my mic went out.
What? No.
Like, I have the worst luck, obviously. So my mic goes out, backtracks out, but in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, like as an entertainer, right? You're not, even if things starts going, crazy, and you have like all these mishaps and technical issues, you're not supposed to stop. Like, you just keep going, and you pretend like nothing's happening, or you pretend like that was supposed to happen. Like, so I just kept going. I sang. I gave it like 100. You're always supposed to give it like 150%, but I really gave it like 150%. I had to like carry my voice. I had to sing so much louder because if I didn't have that mic. So at that point, I'm kind of trying to, I'm trying to be as loud as possible. And at one point, one of the hosts like ran out on stage and passed me a microphone, like in the middle of my song. And I don't even remember, like, this is how deep into my head I was, like trying to like figure this situation out. I don't even remember taking the new mic. Like, it like I was in another zone. Somehow I got the new mic, and I just did the song. The judges, Jenny was one of the judges. Do you know?
Yeah, Jenny
You
Bum.
know Jenny, right?
Yeah,
Jenny Bum.
they organized like the idol like showcase for Otacon. So
Yeah. So like Jenny was there sitting in the middle of the judges table, and I was like, you know what? I gotta pull something out of my butt right now to make this not like look crazy. And I like at a certain point the song is like really intense, and I like got like I almost like eye level with her, and I started singing like to her. Like like I was just like, because this is like again, this is like a really intense song. There's parts where I'm like kind of like saying like, like I've got this divine like feminine energy and this really power. I'm an idol, but I'm like this really powerful entity. That's kind of what the song encompasses. So I just get at like eye level, and I start singing to Jenny, like with my eyes like really wide, and as a kind of like a distraction. Like, this is not happening. Like. And then I did it, and I finished the song, and I left the stage, and I was like, I'm not gonna win, because what the heck was that? But surprisingly, we get up on there, and they're like, you're the one, and I was like, huh?
I guess they judged you for like how you, I guess, reacted with that, with like that whole thing, that tech issue, maybe. Oh shit!
Like, oh, you did every. Whoop, whoop.
Oh no, your audio cut out, but it's back, so it's fine.
Okay. According to them, they were like, yeah, like you did really good with the I don't remember it. Like, I'm telling you, I don't remember anything. But like, they're like, you did really good with like the technical issues, and I was just like, by the time it was like time to like get up on stage and like make like a little speech about winning, I was just like. Like, I was just a mess. I was a mess.
So you won a very hectic way to get to the top, but you won. You got to perform as the opening act the next day. How was that?
So much fun. Honestly, there was like so many more seasoned performers that were doing their thing on there on that show. Jenny was performing, Aki, the judges had their own performances. Um, and I just thought, like, like, this is, again, it was just more so solidifying. This is what I want to do with the rest of my time on this earth. Like, it was just so much fun, even with all the chaos, right? Like, even after what happened the day before, being able to kind of, you know, get up on stage, do my thing again, watch everyone else. It was a blast. It was a blast. Despite everything.
So we talked about Anime Iowa. We talked about Anime Magic. But we might as well just get to the foundation of your idol career, which is your original music. So let's talk about that. What would you say was your very first track that you released as Sherry Ife?
um, that would be Breathe. Um, and again, this was kind of like that transition period I mentioned before where I was kind of going through a lot personally, and I kind of, made the decision like, hey, this is what makes me happy, so this is what I'm going to do with my time now. Um, and I decided that I wanted to create a three-part song trilogy, I guess. Um, and Breathe was the first song in that. And it was kind of like an introduction to my feelings at the time. So as I'm trying to figure myself out, how um I guess I want to say just how defeated I felt at the time before getting into this. So it's a very emotional song. It's again, like I mentioned, it's a very somber song. But it's kind of like just very raw. Hey, this is what I'm feeling in the moment. This is how hopeless I feel right now. Um, and I want music and I want my idol career to be the start of something new. So with the trilogy, I started with that song, and then I moved on to another track, Maho, which obviously that's Japanese for magic. Um, and it's a track describing, in essence, the magic of music and doing the thing that you love and how it's uplifted me and how it's given me a second opportunity to kind of, live the life that I want to. Um, so that was like, it was a very, very, like, I don't want to say like positive song because there's still a level of uncertainty there, I was
Right.
just coming out of that situation where I was very, again, like very much so like a hikikomori and like not able to socialize, not very good at interacting with people. So granted, there's still this level of, some hope there, but it's still very, I almost want to say sounds very unsure. Um, but yeah, Maho was the second song of that trilogy. And then after that, I created Awake. And Awake is kind of the final aha moment. Like, yes, this is in fact what I want. Um, Obviously, with the title, I felt like had awoken from a very long sleep, I want to say. Um, and again, it's another more emotional song, but I think everything in that trilogy kind of is. Um, and we ended up even like creating like a manga for that too. Kind of just like describing my transition into this kind of like homebody, very like isolated person into the idol that I see myself as. And it's kind of like depicted as this like, I almost want to say like a magical girl, a transformation into something, you know, different, something bigger. But yeah.
So with your music and talking with Aiden, who's one of my friends, also kaigai idol, also go to their birthday show next week. Um, I learned from them that you rarely outsource production, be it from like producers or like writers. You write your own music, and then I was very much surprised that you produce or do like the mixing side of stuff for your music.
Yeah.
H-
Yeah.
How was how was learning that process for creating your music like?
I mean, like I mentioned before, my brother, he's obviously like he went to school for this. He understands production, music production, and audio engineering. Um, and I kind of told him that I was this is what I've started doing, but I had told like from the bat, like right off the bat, I was like, hey, like I want you to direct me towards the resources that I need to start this, and maybe like like send me some tutorials, kind of start me up, but I don't want you doing anything for me. he was like he was like, but why? And I was just like, I feel that it's necessary for any, like, not even just musicians, not even idols, like anybody in any art, right? I feel like it's important that people kind of have a basic understanding of every aspect of the creative process. So, even though technically it's not necessarily something I'm supposed to be doing as a singer, as an idol, I still wanted to understand it. So I spent a year really like studying and grinding and kind of just constantly being and like Ableton and just like figuring out, okay, how do I tweak this to make the vocals sound like this? How do I, you know, what pedals do I need to put on this guitar to make it sound like just constant research. And I already have the ability to understand like musical theory because of the piano lessons and the things that my parents had me do as a kid. Um, so it was kind of just like build off that basic knowledge. And to take it a step further, because I'm serious about this, I ended up like building an actual like an actual recording studio within the basement level of my house.
Oh.
Yeah. I wanted to be able to take the entire creation process and be able to do everything without having to rely on others. Not that I should be doing that. But I am very much so like I love my work. I want to put all of myself into it, and I felt like the only way I could do that was by being able to from the start kind of have like control over every single aspect again of the creation process.
I see. I think like you are like one of the few that really does every single aspect. I would say like the closest is maybe Aiden. Aiden does like the mixing, the lyrics. Um, Sometimes they commission like instrums or like other producers, but like I guess you are very much the closest to like being like the jack of all trades. Very much lyrics, production, da 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 da, everything. It's very wow, like cool to see. So
Thank you. I mean, I just if I feel like if I can do it, why not? And I feel like it's easier for me to create something that really represents me if I can kind of have, a hand in everything that's related to that project. But again, I also feel like there will come a certain point if I do continue to do this where I will need to kind of let go of some of that control. But for now, no.
um with the trilogy and also reading through your SNS and like seeing like, your inspirations, which were I guess the big two that I noticed was Rina Sawayama and Utada Hikaru. I would say like there's a lot of I would say a lot of Utada influence in Maho, but like is there any other influences that you gravitated towards to like put into your songs?
Again, like, and you haven't, because again, you haven't heard them yet, but Queen Bee, this group that I keep bringing up a lot, you'll hear a lot of that, like, I don't know, I guess you want to say that, like, nostalgic almost, older rock feel that kind of like pops up a lot in their music. So I think I kind of had a lot of inspiration from them. And then just like American groups too, like Evanescence, like is a big like inspiration for a lot of like vocal style, I guess. Um, but again, like because I have this idea of wanting to create genreless music, I think I pull inspo from almost every like group that I listen to, whether it be like a hip hop artist or like like another idol group. Um, I want to have that variety when I do make music. But a lot of people say like, yeah, they really hear like the utada with like the vocal style and the music and whatnot. So
Um, I guess going back full circle, the first time I found out about you was hmm, I think it'd be Idol. So you released Idol. You posted like a link to it on Twitter, and then one of my friends, Fluff, I think replied to it, and they were like, "Whoa, this is so good!" And I'm like, I want to check this out." And then I checked it out, and I checked the YouTube MV, and I was like, "Wow, this is like completely different compared to like a lot of other kaigai idol music, and like it's so good." And now full circle, what 2 months, 3 months later, we're here. So
yes,
yeah.
hey,
So yeah, like it's very different in a good way compared to like everyone else, and it's very good to like stand out in a crowd. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, Idol was like, I think I kind of stepped a little bit more into the idol kind of like genre music, especially with like my vocal style. I kind of wanted to do more like cutesier inflections because I don't know if you've noticed, but I like play with my voice a lot.
Mm.
Like I love like octave jumping. Like I will do a very like masculine voice, but then at the same time I will jump onto the other side and try to do something like a little more feminine, a little more cutesy. Like I feel like that's like the best way for me to portray how I'm feeling is just like changing my voice. So Idol was like had like a little bit more of that like cuter style in it, but then for the chorus I was like, let's switch it up, and I jumped into that more like dramatic, like deeper style of like singing. But it was a really fun, it was a really fun song to make, and again, me being like big on like human psychology, like I wanted to write a song that really represents the true like inner feelings of both the idol and the fans. Like, I think it's that symbiotic relationship that I mentioned before, where we both kind of like rely on each other, and we both kind of almost see ourselves in each other. Um, so when idol is on that stage performing, there is this need to kind of express yourself and shine, in a way that you wouldn't normally be able to, if you weren't, doing shows, in everyday life. So it's kind of like that opportunity to truly be yourself. And with the fans and the Wuta, it's like more like, you come there and you also have the same thing. Like you can be yourself, when you're in that live house, you can be yourself when you're at that concert. So I think the two, kind of really draw energy and inspiration from each other. So that's kind of like what the song is about, that kind of relationship.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Very good. I guess you did Idol, but like prior to that, you also had Pink Rose. You have two specific versions, Thorn and Petal. Was there like any reason why you did two versions?
Well, it could be goofy and say like, I love the song so much I had to do it twice. But no. Actually, it was more so like a challenge to myself because I Pink Rose is kind of like I said it was like kind of like almost like my idol theme song. It kind of like encompasses who I see myself as an idol. And I kind of was like, oh, okay, I'm this. I almost wanted. I describe it as I see myself when I'm on stage as a different person, this more powerful version of myself, somebody with a lot of like really strong like feminine energy, very almost domineering sometimes. Um, but with Thorn, I think you kind of get that vibe, that kind of like aggressive vibe because it is a rock song. You have the guitar, you have that upbeat tempo. Um, but when I created Petal, I thought, well, hey, like it's the same song, but what if I kind of designed it from the perspective of this, aggressive energy being almost enticing and romantic and almost like a more flirtier version, I guess, of the song. So I challenged myself to kind of take the same lyrics and kind of like depict them in two different ways. So that's kind of why I did that.
Interesting. You also have another song um, included in that, other than Thorn and Petal. I don't know what it says actually. I don't know
Oh,
the
it's
song title.
the English translation. The English translation is Jupiter's Lullaby.
Oh, that's the song. Okay. Um, what what was like the inspiration for that track?
For that one, I kind of there's somebody personal, like somebody very close to me in my life that right now I kind of feel like the almost like the protector of them. I have a very close relationship with this person, and I wanted to write a song about what it feels like to kind of have this person in your life that you feel like you want to do everything for. You feel like you want to protect them, nurture them, somebody you want to take care of. Um, but you know that they're their own person, and you know that you can't always be there, and the kind of anxiety that comes with that, um, and the anxiety that comes with being that friend, that protector, when even you yourself are not really all that together. It's like, how can I be a good friend to this person? How can I take care of this person when I can't necessarily take care of myself? So it's another like little deeply personal song that I wrote dedicated to that person. Um, and yeah, it's just this is the kind of music that I write. I write from experience. I write about things that really touch my soul, so that I'm able to put my all into it.
It's a good song. Very good. All of your
Thank you.
all of your stuff is good. And it's gonna get better and better and
Thank
better.
you. I hope we can talk about Hiden, because I don't know if you're gonna bring that up or not, but I do want to talk about that too.
I'm I mean, it wasn't on the docket, but you have the floor if you want to talk about it.
I don't usually get a chance to chat this much. That's why I'm so glad that I'm glad we're doing this, because I really don't get chance to like talk about this too much. But um, another like big thing for me again is just like being very candid and very like I said, very personal with my songs, and I write a lot of things that are just simply about my own experiences. Um, and I don't know if you got a chance to listen to Hidden, but it's basically a song about a very tragic sapphic love. So two women that aren't necessarily able to make the relationship work. And I kind of also wanted to include that in my idol music, because I know that there's not necessarily like a lot of like, even in Japan, there's not like a lot of like queer representation in idol music.
Right.
And just like in music in general, like obviously like that's not a big thing, but I kind of wanted to make sure that my listeners knew that this is like a very I'm a queer artist, I'm bisexual, and I want to create music and write songs about those experiences. Um, and I don't want to hide it. I don't necessarily want, like some people will say, like, yeah, like that's like a little like too political, I guess, for like idol music. But I think, yeah, yeah, like there's people that will say that. But you know, it's it's my art, and if I want to make, cute little love songs like that, then so be it. Because you don't really see that a lot in idol music. You really don't.
Very much writing about stuff that you want to write about, and like
Mm-mm.
it I keep saying it, but it's very different, and it does give you that aura, I guess. So yeah, like it's good that you are like actually writing about stuff that you deeply care about, and like that you feel isn't very much represented in idol music. So
Mm.
very good. So um with that, I do want to talk about I guess how you market yourself as a kaigai idol. Like, going through your SNS and like going through like your YouTube and like you having Cherub Club, which is very much, you know, your fan club that you pay for, uh, three bucks a month. You get like what? You have the 10-minute podcasts, the sacred spaces. You have like the commentaries, the diaries. That's like the very first time I saw that in kaigai idol, in the kaigai idol space. I know like in the Japanese idol space, they have like, you know, paywalls and like fan clubs and stuff. But like, it's very much the first time seeing that. What made you like, I guess, go through with that idea?
Um, Mention like it's mainly just like me taking inspiration and me kind of observing just like what's going on in the scene in Japan. Um, the fan clubs are like a really good way for you to just have that like that solid support and just like a group of people that really they just if they really really like your music, um they're gonna want to have that chance in the future to kind of maybe get those seats that are like closer to the front when they're doing tickets, and they're gonna want that like exclusive merch because they really really want to support you. But since I'm like a smaller artist, I was like, what's a good price? Because like I didn't want to make anything crazy, so I was like a couple bucks like is totally fine, and I could just use like the $3 here and there to kind of just put it back into the art. Like that's what I always tell people. Like the people that sign up, hey, like I'm gonna like put out content and stuff, but honestly, I just I appreciate it. I love it, and I'm just gonna keep using your help and your support to kind of just keep doing this and keep creating music and you know all these projects that I want to do. So it's been very helpful with that, and I feel like like I had kind of like a hang up about it at first. I didn't even like really using the word fan like
Really?
for really long time. Yeah, and even now like I don't know why I have a problem with it's a me thing obviously, but I used to just say, "Oh, these are my listeners, these are my viewers." Like I would avoid that word at all costs. And I think it's because I don't ever want to put myself on a higher pedestal than everybody else. Like I don't I feel everybody's on this like even playing field.
Really?
And I felt weird about that for a really long time, and even like making like the fan club, I was like if I do this, I want to make sure that I have a name for the people that are joining so I don't have to use that word specifically. And I don't know if you know Martha.
Yeah, yeah, it's Martha. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Martha had the really like came up with a really like cute idea to just be like everybody, you'll just call everybody like cherubs. And I was like, you know what? That works. That works with this weird mental hang up I have about using the word fans. That's kind of just what we did. Yeah.
So it's very much just a replacement of supporter or like fan. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
hmm. So with ooh, going with your supporters, your cherubs, how much do they mean to you? Starting out as a kaiga idol.
Oh my gosh. Would not be doing any of the things that I'm doing now without all of like just the like kind words, like again like even the people like when we didn't have the Bupon at Anime Iowa, just people like randomly like coming up to me and being like, hey, like I like what you do. Because I just again I came from my background is I have a very excuse me, I have a very like sad backstory, and I'm very much so kind of almost like still very withdrawn, and I think I have an issue with self-confidence, and I think that's also why I have an issue with the whole word with fans. um so when I hear people say things like I love what you do, it kind of it gives me that little push, to kind of just like keep doing what I'm doing. That reassurance, that I'm making things that people like. It means the world to me because honestly, like I'm like one of those people that's like, oh, I don't know if this is good. Like, I'm not sure if I don't know if I should release this. Like, I'm very much very self-conscious. Um, so I love everyone that's given me like any little comment online. Like, I love this. Just a simple like a simple heart. Like, it means everything to me. It really does.
Speaking of cherubs, you might make potential new cherubs at Northwest Idol Fest, which
Yay.
scanning through your SNS, I think like you said, Northwest Idol Fest was a dream like performance to do. Like,
Heard so much about it um, prior to putting in my application, auditioning. I just seeing like that there was a space for people that enjoy idol music, seeing all these performers come together and having this opportunity to do what they love in such a big shared space, like that was so amazing to me, honestly. And I knew that that was going to be one of my goals as a kaigai idol. Like, it's like I have to try to apply, um, and I didn't even think, like, honestly, again, this is me with like my like my weird like self-confidence issues. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like get in. I don't know. And it happened and I was like, oh, like I was so shocked. Honestly, I was so shocked. I was like, there's no way. I was like, that's not real. I had a dream. Let me go back to sleep. Like and it
um,
happened. I'm super happy.
what are you expecting out of Northwest Idol Fest?
I mean, I I'm just so ready to see all the like bigger artists that people that I've looked up to up until this point. Like, I'm so ready to finally see them perform in person. Like, I'm just dying. Like, I'm like, yes, this is it. Like, this is this is my chance. Like, to see everybody's joined together all in one space, and show my support because it's really hard to like because there's so many of us, I guess. Um, Oftentimes I find it's a little bit difficult to like, you know, just show the support that I want to. Like, I'll send messages and be like, I love this, or I'll like share things and like things, but like actually going to a show is just another level, and that's what I'm ready for, is showing my support to the people that have inspired me to do this up until this point. Um and I'm really excited, obviously, like I'm really excited for like doing the show on the community stage. I don't know how many people are going to be able to show up. Doesn't matter, even if it's just one, like even if just one person shows up, like I'm going to give it my all. um it's going to be my best show yet because I've been practicing so hard, like rehearsal every single day nonstop. That's why I came at you crazy, because like I'm like, I've got a lot going on, but like I am so ready to get on the stage, um and do what I love the most, and for 30 minutes too, because normally the set list, the time ons I've done, they've been smaller, so 30 minutes is going to be the longest one so far, so I'm super excited.
Even for me, like doing this arc of like interviewing like participants in Northwest Idol Fest, like Pawn Ranger, like Melancholia, like Jelly, like Umemi, like you, all of you are very much there for like the biggest, I would say the biggest Kaigai Idol event in the US. So I
Mm-hmm.
do want to show my support. I haven't seen, well, technically I've seen Jelly at like Idol Party LA, but everyone else I haven't
Mm.
like seen perform live ever. So it's very much, I do want to give my support as a fan, because like as you said, like you do comments, but like what really matters, even for me, I do remember like my Kamiyoshi Taburugumi in Japan.
Mm.
She's gonna be at Northwest Idol Fest, but like I told her like it sucks. I'm overseas. I can't like be at the show where it actually matters. But like
Yeah.
for everyone here, all the Kai guys that are like participating in Northwest Idol Fest, I do want to show my support and actually be at the shows and like cheer you guys on. So like yeah.
We're so, it's like, even though like I was, oh, the world is so small, it also still feels like we're all so very spread out. So I love that this event gives us that opportunity to finally, like you said, just show the support that we really want to, and go to these concerts and just have a blast. Like, I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, with I guess with the boom of like kaigai idols and very much the success of Idol Party LA, Natsumatsuri in New Jersey, and I guess the success of Northwest Idol Fest now, even though we don't know the numbers or whatever, but like a lot of people are attending, and like with that success, I do hope that like there will be a lot more, I guess, centralized kaigai idol events for like people to like
Yeah.
go in. So we just need to like escape like the con, I guess like the con showcase and like have actual separate events. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully it happens. I think eventually, I think it's in the near future we're going to start seeing more like standalone events pop up. Because again, I'm doing like the Rapid Steps one, and that's like another like standalone thing in the Midwest. So I think we're going to see more and more of them. Um, yeah, and I'm going to show up to as many events as I can. Like, even if I'm not a performer, like I'm just going to be there as a fan, like going nuts. So
um being well, I guess you are the best of both worlds, being in Japan performing and also being a fan watching actual idol taibans, and also performing here in the US, and also
mm,
I guess also being a fan here. I don't know if you've watched like stuff in the crowd, but like what would you say like what would you say the US kaigai scene would like want to learn from the Japanese idol scene or the Japanese Woda scene or culture?
I mean, I think that the Kaigai idol scene overseas is kind of, in a way, in multiple ways, it's kind of developed into its own thing. So I guess it's a little hard to be like, this is what we can take from Japan, when so much culture has been created here already. Like, again, like you've got like cosplay idols, right? And that's not necessarily like a thing in Japan. And just the whole concept of having like idol concerts at an anime convention, that's like totally different. And the way you have to operate those events is totally different. So it's a little difficult to kind of like pull those things. But I think if we took the time, like you said earlier, to focus on more of the standalone events, it'll be a little easier for us to, you know, have these performances that kind of put more emphasis on, like maybe like more like original music, or maybe more like, just like groups that are more similar to the Japanese concept. Um, and once we have that, we can bring in more of the idea of like Buppon, and being able to hang out with your favorite idols and being able to socialize with them. Um, I think those are things that will come once the standalone events become more popular. Because again, it's just very difficult to do when you're trying to host these events at anime conventions.
Right. um what am I gonna say? Even though you are, I guess, technically new, you've been performing for 1 year, you'd say?
Yeah, yeah, about 1 year.
Okay, so we have a lot of like newcomer idols, also people that also recently debuted, I guess like around the same time as you, but like
Mm.
what general advice would you have for idols like them just starting out?
Wow. Um, I think it's just like the advice that I give everyone, and like I mentioned this too on Sacred Space in the fan club. I think it's just all about knowing yourself. If you know yourself, and you know that this is what you want to do, and an idol career is something that you want to pursue, you're going to have the motivation to do all the things that come with that. Like, you're going to want to put in, those hours and hours of practice. You're going to be excited to learn how to write music. You're going to start wanting to write lyrics. Like, if you know yourself, the things that you do in life come much easier. And then on an even like more specific level, just like understanding who you are allows you to kind of create the performances and maybe like the persona that you know that you want to depict yourself as a lot easier. Um, when you know yourself, you're like, hey, this is the visuals that I want to use. These are the kind of songs that I want to write. Like, this is the genre of music that I like. These are all things that come with knowing who you are and being sure of yourself. So I always say, just like have a good sense of self, and everything will come naturally. Honestly, yeah.
Very good advice. Very good. Coming from that, like with your idol career, is it really something that you want to pursue like full time, or is it something that you want to pursue as just a hobby?
It's full time now. Like,
Really?
like it's full time. Like I can still like do, like I said, like cosmetology, doing like hair and makeup is something that I can still kind of do anyway, like on the side, because it's related to performing. When I was in Japan, actually, the majority of my like clients were actually like entertainers. So doing that kind of ties into like music and idol performances already. But right now it's pretty much like full time because I haven't traveled overseas to do gigs or clients in a while. And I'm just focusing on every day, like I said, writing new music, rehearsing, getting ready for these shows, putting out like content and whatnot. It's like it's my entire day at this point. Yeah.
Because like very much the first time a kaigai idol actually wanted to pursue this option, wanted to pursue this like full time.
Careful.
Like I'd say like the closest would be Phoebe, but even with Phoebe, hi Phoebe, she does like voice acting and like a lot of other stuff, but like her kaiga idol like music career is like the big thing, but like she has side stuff. For you, you are really just you really want to like pursue this. Like,
Yeah, I love music, and with my job, like I was I was like crying on on my fan club the other day because I was like, everything's so expensive. But like with my job, I've like set money aside to kind of feel like, hey, I have like a decent support or like foundation for continuing to do this full time without necessarily needing to worry about other things. And not a lot of people have that. Like, obviously, like that's not normal, to be able to go in 100% without being like, without worrying about bills, because this is not a job that pays. Like, it's not a
no,
job
it
that pays.
doesn't. No.
Like, we not making no money off this. But like, yeah, for most people, it's impossible to do this full time because you need to pay the bills. But I've been lucky enough that I have that like savings set aside to say, hey, I can sit here and focus on this and do what I want to do for a little bit and hopefully make enough progress that eventually I can start making a little bit of money, trickling in to continue to do these projects. It's and again, it's not normal. It's not normal. Most people don't have that.
Very much, I guess, a perfect scenario for you. If you really do want to like go through with this, it's gonna be tough. It is gonna be tough,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm very much gambatte.
You got no.
With your idol career, is there like any like bucket list things that you want to achieve throughout it?
Yeah, I think like I have really big crazy dreams. um I almost want to say sometimes I'm like mildly like delusional, but like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that, like having like big dreams. But I think for me, it's just maybe continuing to do shows in Japan, maybe like larger live houses eventually, like maybe like a hall or something. Like again again, this is just me being delulu, but like I really see myself getting to a point where maybe I can perform for larger audiences, and also writing and producing music maybe for other idols. I think that that's something that I've considered, is like being able to maybe help produce other groups, because I've always really big on like marketing and like branding and stuff. So I think that that's something I could also do as kind of like a, like a segue into continuing as, as I get older and whatnot. So.
That goes into like my other thing. Like after all of this, after you know, when the time comes. Oh, that sounds like you're gonna die. When you hang up the gloves and you say, I think this is it for being an idol. Like, what do you plan on doing? You said like you want to like produce, you want to like do brand and management for potentially other like artists. Is there like anything else that you want to do?
I mean, yeah, aside from like the producing and whatnot, and continuing to like do the cosmetology work for like other entertainers, maybe like doing like hair and makeup for like more like, I don't know, like black idols in Japan, because we're seeing more and more of that. I think that my end all goal is, even if it's not idol, just music in general. I don't know what the future holds or what specific road I'll end up taking, because I've learned in my life that like even if you like make a plan, 9 times out of 10, like that plan you had 5 years ago don't matter. Like like that's what I've learned. Like you just like you don't know what the future holds. Um I just know that in some way I want to be involved in music. That's 100% what I want at this point.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, like being dedicated to the craft is very much something that I definitely see it that you really want to do this. So
Yeah, and I maybe actually, to better answer your question, I think one goal I do want to do is to join a band for sure. Like,
ooh, as like a vocalist or
yeah, I want to do vocals, maybe like guitar, but like still like add that like kind of like idol kick to it, something like that. Yeah.
um, this is gonna be a little bit out of left field, but like, is there like a difference between the you on stage and the you off stage?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Like, again, like I've mentioned, like I am not really a person with like a lot of self confidence. I'm very much so like, I mean, again, I have that sense of self, but there's always, I think with everybody, you're always going to have like lingering doubts, and you're always going to kind of, have moments where you're unsure about yourself, and, oh, hey, maybe I'm not doing things the right way, or maybe I could have done this differently. So I've always been kind of like, I don't know, a bit of a socially awkward person that I'm learning to work through it through like idol activities. So being on stage, the me that's up there is almost like me if I let my guard down, if that anxiety wasn't there. It's me if I let the intrusive thoughts win. um, it's like an amplified version of myself. Very like, even though like I'm naturally very shy, I've always had like very like mischievous air about me. I'm a bit bratty at times. Um, but I kind of just hold that back when I'm talking to people. Normally, I'm not necessarily going all out, but when I'm on stage, that's the time to perform. So I'm like, I want to be the person that I want to be the person that I wish I could be if I wasn't so nervous all the time. So that's me on stage, like very, very loud, very like in your face. Like in Jenny's case at Anime Magic, literally in your face. Like, like it's different. I'm very rowdy. I'm very playful. Yeah.
Even for me, like I guess relating to you, like even I'm like socially awkward, and like doing this does, I guess like the main thing I did idolize for was, yes, talking with idols and interviewing you guys and giving you guys a platform, but even for me it's like breaking down my social anxiety and also like trying to like
Yes.
be be like not socially awkward, because like even way before idolize, this whole thing started because like I went to like two off guys and I talked with two of my oshis, two of my kami oshis, and I was like hella nervous. And so I was like, I like talking to idols, but I'm scared shitless. Let's start a podcast and interview
Yeah.
idols.
Yo, I'm proud of you. I feel that. I feel that. I think I'm glad to hear that you found like something that's given you, a platform to kind of like break out of your shell. I feel like everyone, needs that kind of that outlet. So I'm proud of you. Yeah.
Yeah, like even for you, like even you're socially awkward and like using that stage as a platform to like perform and also you know get supporters and get cherubs. It's very cool to see. One last thing. What would the present you tell the Sherry, that was about to be on stage for the first time?
Be so hard on yourself. I feel like I was like obviously it's a new thing for me. Performing is it was so new. Like it was, one of my first shows aside from the ones that I did in Japan where I was just with a bunch of friends. Like what? Don't beat yourself up. I always do this thing where I get on stage and I do my thing and then I get in my head and I'm just like, oh man, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You didn't do that. And then I always surprise myself because people are like, you did awesome. So I just I need to stop being so hard on myself. So that's what I would say to her. Like, chill out. Like like you just got here. Why are you being so mean to yourself? Like
Wise words to the past self. So,
uh,
as a tradition for every single IDOLEYEZ episode, we have a segment called "The Worst Pep Talk Ever." For 1 minute, for 1 minute, I give the guest you a pep talk that is the absolute worst. So, yeah, here we go. 1 minute, 1 minute. There we go. Chérie, mon chérie. You have a lot of potential. You have a lot of potential to break out as a kaigai idol, and I really do want to see you succeed. Like doing everything from like marketing, from production, from songwriting. It very much makes you the jack of all trades, and very much, it really like it's amazing to see. It's amazing to
I,
see that like you are doing everything on your own, and maybe like you might need to like actually ask for help, but like that time will pass, that time will come. But like it's very exciting to see you like do every single aspect of your music. Your music is very good, like absolutely good. Like this isn't me like I'm gonna like fluff you up. No, it's really good. And yeah, I just want to see you succeed, and I'm very much hoping I can see you perform at Northwest Idol Fest. Should like no time like schedule be conflicted or whatever, but like I really want to see you perform, and I really wish you the best. Because like if you really want to pursue this full time, it's gonna be tough. It is a long, long road, and you know, although you are fortunate to have like some leeway with that, but it's gonna be tough, and I wish you luck. And that has been minute 30, but whatever. It's fine.
you. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
Nah.
Don't do that.
Pep talk. Pep talk is always bad. It's always on the spot, and yeah, I could always do better. But yeah,
No. Like I said, I'm such a oh god, I'm such an anxious, nervous person, and like hearing when people that just gave me motivation because I was going through it this week. I'm not gonna get into it, but I was going through it, so I really appreciate that.
well, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for accepting this invitation to be on IDOLEYEZ, and I really hope I can see you perform at Northwest Idol Fest. So yeah.
If not, we're hanging out. So
Oh,
whatever.
for sure. I'm down. I think I'm free most of the time. So yeah, cool. I think that'll be it for this episode of IDOLEYEZ. Next week, we have a IDOLEYEZ on September 26th. I can't really say who, and I don't even have the promo like picture up because I don't even have permission to. They didn't give me any resources yet. So, well, also they're not on Twitter, so I have to make an Instagram and promote there. So that'll be the first time I'm doing that. But yeah, it'll be another community stage participant performer. So look forward to that announcement whenever, but that'll be next Thursday. You can follow Sherry at her website, and you can follow her on Twitter, on Instagram. I think if you click the link, it gives you like all the socials. So yeah, go there. Subscribe to the Cherub Club if you really want to.
Thank you.
But and I think that will be it. Oh, do you want to promote any other like upcoming events that you are performing before Northwest Auto Fest or like?
Yeah, could do that. So we got Rapid Steps Idol Fest coming up on the 28th. That's in Grand Rapids. I will be there. And then also I'm about to release a new song, so we got that coming up. There's another
Ooh.
one, and this is for the people that like call and response. This is for the people that mix. It's about to be crazy. So yeah.
Ooh. I'm looking forward to that, and I think that'll be it. If you are going to Northwest Idol Fest, watch Sherry. Buy stuff from Bupon or buy some Checky. There we go. And yeah, that'll be it. So see you next Thursday for our next guest for Northwest Idol Fest arc. And take care, brush your hair, be kind, rewind. We'll be going to our ending screen right now. Bye bye.